Good morning guys and welcome back to another vlog. So this week I have had the week from hell with the horses, but I will update you on that in a moment. But hopefully we are going to have a nice weekend like for this vlog. I'm going to do a weekend vlog because I actually have, provided today goes well, I have quite a busy weekend. So today I actually have lessons on Percy and Snip with my dressage trainer, who's actually a Grand Prix Dressage Rider. She's ridden internationals this year, well last year now. So yeah, it's very exciting. I love training with Tori. She is just like next level. She just sees things that no one else seems to see and gets me doing things that I just wouldn't think of myself. So hopefully they will be some really interesting lessons. I'm going to mic her up so that you can hear what's being said. And I'm going to try and do a lot more training videos because I find them personally really interesting and I really like watching them back. So fingers crossed all goes well today, because let me tell you guys, I have just had the worst luck recently with horses. Snip has actually been fine. She's very green at the moment, like you'll see today in a lesson that she just is riding like a 4-year-old that's never been ridden before at the moment. So we're just kind of plodding away with her. Percy, on the other hand, has not had a great week. So last week he came in with a slightly fat leg and a cut on the outside of his, which one was it? His right leg. On the outside of his leg he had a small cut, about yay big, nothing like major, but his leg was a bit puffy. And knowing my luck, I was like, that'll just go to cellulitis or something like that, like it'll get really badly infected. So I went straight to the vets and got him some antibiotics and put him on a little bit of Danilon, which is basically bute, so pain relief. So that was last week. And obviously he had some days off and then he was fine. So then we started schooling again at the start of this week. And then on Wednesday I had some filming, which I was so excited about, with Caroline Maw. Now anyone who doesn't know Caroline, she is an incredible eventing instructor and she teaches a lot of professional eventers, and I had the opportunity to go and train with her, do a flat work session, and we were filming it for her new website that I'm not sure I can tell you about yet, but anyway, that will be coming soon. So we went Wednesday and Percy had been really tense at home, but he loves going out. So we got there and he was warming up beautifully, really nice. He felt really good. We were working on different things. So we basically were only in walk and trot at this point because we were just focusing on transitions and focusing on contact and things like that. However, 10 minutes into this, Percy went suddenly lame. And I have never had a horse go from being perfectly sound 1 second to absolutely lame the next. So that was really concerning. I got off him and completely expected to find a stone in his hoof, because it was that sort of jerk reaction of, I'm absolutely fine, no I'm not, I'm in a lot of pain. So normally, like, you know, they've got a stone in the hoof, and I picked out all his feet, no stone, gave him a little walk and then got back on him and he was fine for like 2 minutes, and then he did the exact same thing again. So that was when we were like, right, okay, need to get off him. Caroline actually trotted him up for me, so we could see. I trotted him up so she could see, and we both agreed, like, when I was off him, he was only probably 1 out of 10 lame, but when I was on him, he was like lame, like the worst lameness I've actually seen in a horse for a long time. So yeah, very odd. I iced his boots, I iced his legs and rang her 2 of my vets to see if I could actually drive him straight in, but they were short-staffed and busy, so I couldn't. So that was Wednesday. Then I literally rang my physio and my farrier on the way back from being at Valeview training, and my farrier said, in fact I rang another vet as well, so my farrier said could be an abscess but possibly not, because he be showing it in walk, and it wouldn't come on like that. Physio said, looks like soft tissue. I sent her the video. And then my other vet, who I rang, Simon Hutton, because I'm actually registered at 2 vets, so I'm registered at practice and a private vet. So I rang Simon and he was like, I'd give him a bute and see how he is in 2 days. I was like, okay. He thought, again, he was like, it could be anything, but let's rule out abscess. So then the next day we trotted him up and he did the exact same thing. He was fine for 5 minutes and then completely lame. And then Friday, the vet came out and had a look at him from herds, and he was perfectly sound. So trotted him up in hand, perfectly sound, and I was like running, guys. Like, I was out of breath. It actually made me realise how unfit I am. And then we put him on the lunge, and I thought, right, you know, he's definitely going to show now. He was quite tense. He was doing his typical, like, fire breathing dragon impression. Head was up, tail was up. He was like bouncing on the spot. Got him cantering loads on both reins on the lunge, and then bringing him back to trot, and then being like, you know, expecting him to suddenly hobble, and there was nothing. He was like completely sound, and I literally felt like I'd rang the vet out to show her my sound horse. But anyway, so what the vet suggested it probably was on the Tuesday night when I'd schooled him, that maybe he'd hit a stone, or maybe he'd hit a stone in the field, cantering him out or something, and that had caused bruising. But instead of like just bruising the sole, what can happen is the bruising can move up and down the leg. And this can mean that sometimes it can like hit a point where it's really painful and they suddenly go lame. So we poulticed him for a couple of days and basically treat it as abscess/bruising, which is what I was told to do. They said poulticing it will soften the foot or help bring the bruising out. Obviously poulticing it will help bring the pus of the abscess out. So anyway, he's been poulticed for a couple of days. Nothing has come of poulticing it. I've wet and dry poulticed it. He's actually got a dry poultice on this morning, which I put on before I turned him out, and that will be his final poultice. And I'm getting back on him today. Now, I have explained the situation to Tori, Victoria Maw, who's coming today as my trainer. So Percy is only going to have a very short session today, and if he shows any lameness, the session will obviously end. So she is very, very good at assessing lameness. She was actually the one that pointed out his stifles were a bit sore back in January. So I trust Tori immensely with things like this. So we're going to have a short lesson on Percy with her, and depending how he is, depends what we do. I think we will avoid lateral work, just so that, you know, it's not putting extra pressure on anywhere. And then Snippy is also having a lesson. And if all goes well today, Percy will then have a pole work lesson tomorrow, because that's actually already booked in. So fingers crossed he is now all mended and that the bruising has gone or the abscess has gone. He has been on antibiotics for his legs. I think, you know, either way, hopefully, we have a sound horse today. But with that being said, I'm going to stop rambling and we will jump to my lesson. So guess which idiot plugged the mics in, but didn't actually plug the camera mic in. So you've kind of got a little bit of both of our voices, but also a hell of a lot of wind. So sorry for that, guys. I do apologise. So you are going to have to put up with a bit of a voiceover. Apologies. I have, however, decided to be extra nice to you, and I'm actually going to film Percy's lesson tomorrow as well. So that I will ensure the mics are actually set up properly for. But in full transparency, I know there is so much online that when you put on a video where your horse isn't looking great, you can get a lot of hate, but I want to show you sort of the reality of warming Percy up at home. So this boy does not like working at home. He loves going out, but when he works at home, he gets tense, he sticks his head in the air, and his neck goes hard as anything. So this is our warm-up. As you can see, I'm kind of just leaving his head alone and just asking him to move forwards. I'm trying to stop him from trying to run off. So this is how we started the session. Certainly not how we want him to be going. But it was more an assessment that he was actually sound to begin with, and I'll show you some of the things that Tori got me doing to soften Percy. I genuinely don't understand why he can go out and work beautifully and warm up soft as anything and will accept the contact, yet at home we have the llama.
Bless him. So, if you just stay with me for a second, we looked a little bit near to this side, but I go into towards your corner. So, right, you don't want to ride a tiny Grand Prix corner. What you want to do is almost from where you are there, curve a straight line towards H. And it will be a corner that's too big, let's say. So it's not one you'd put in a test, but it would be a big corner, so almost like a triangle shaved off. And you then want to push him back about a metre in towards your corner. So you're going to use your turns to soften him around your inside leg, but gets him into your outside leg. So if you think, roughly sort of as you get to when you've got your
So I'm sure you probably didn't quite manage to hear what Tori was saying, but basically this exercise is what we're going to be working on for pretty much the most of the lesson with Percy. We're not doing a huge amount with Percy because obviously he has had a little bit of lameness this week, so I don't want to push him. But what we are working is basically, how I can best describe it, as a square where the corners have been snipped. So instead of riding your corner like you would in a test, you know, going really into the corner and then doing your turn, we are coming about a metre to probably more of a metre and a half away from before we hit the corner and going straight across and just cutting out the corner sort of thing, but with another straight line. So, and then slightly leg yielding him through the corner. I will put a graph on screen, well not a graph, a diagram on screen of what I mean. It's kind of hard to appreciate from the ground and because you guys are literally stood in the middle of my square. But as you can see, straight away, Percy starts to engage his brain a little bit, which is always helpful, and starts to soften. And that is the whole point of this exercise. So we want, because we can't do lateral work with him, because obviously he's been a little bit sore, don't want to do loads of lateral work, which is the easiest and quickest way to soften Percy. This is a way of kind of almost asking for a leg yield, but not really, but kind of letting him actually travel through the outside shoulder. So it's asking lateral, but allowing the movement and causing the softness without causing any of the sort of, you know, issues that you can arise with lateral work on a horse that's possibly had a little bit of lameness. So that is the exercise. And it did take a lot of getting used to, I'm not going to lie. Tori's exercises always do. They seem really simple, but what you're actually asking is complex in my mind. And also one thing that I was working on that actually Caroline Maw introduced me to this week is keeping a soft contact by lengthening my arm. So I really try and do my dressage rider hands in the air because I am bad for putting my arms sort of straight, but actually Caroline was like, well, use your hands, push them in front of the saddle and keep them low to keep a soft contact, and that will encourage Percy to relax in the neck. So that is everything that we did in walk, and as you can see, huge improvement from the llama that we started with, and then we progressed that to trot also.
your arm rotating. Good girl. Good. That's it. Brilliant. Okay. So let's see if we can now get him to move slightly more sideways on your left leg in towards your corner. It's not loads. We are literally looking like half a metre. You push him underneath you and then you feel your outside right rein and then soften, lighten your left wrist. Keep really supple through the left wrist, and if that means you have to just wiggle your left wrist every now and again to stop any tension building there, then you have to go. I'm just saying right now, soften the left wrist. Just move it. That's it. Imagine flexing the wrist so that you can't actually brace it. Good lad.
So there we go, already working a lot softer and a lot better. Anyone would think, you know, Tori was a Grand Prix Dressage Rider or anything. Gosh. No, she actually is. But no, this is why I love lessons with Tori. She just makes me think of things in a different way. If this was me and I'd come in today on my own and Percy was doing all of that, I would have straight gone to transitions and lateral work and all kind of things that can put quite a lot of stress on your horse. That's, had a little bit of a niggle. So this way she's kind of introducing a very, very soft approach with Percy, which is obviously what he needs. And then we swap onto the right rein. So the right rein is Percy's worst rein. It's also the side I'm most dominant on is my right. So it's my worst rein as well because I kind of let everything go out the left-hand side door because I don't really use that leg and I don't really use that hand. As you'll see. But yeah, Percy's always a lot more tense on the right, so it'd be interesting to see how he works on this rein.
Just concentrate here on your outside left hip turning so that it softens your right knee to the saddle and allows your ankle to close more. Might as well do this rein first. Because he's already around your leg, you set him up for the process. Turn your left hip. That's it. That's helping your right hip flexor stay open. It also stops your right knee closing. So we don't want to feel like you pin them in on your knee because that makes your lower leg loose. Okay, softening your knee, keeping your ankle wrapped round. Remember, all of these points of the turn, you're just pushing him here sideways off your right leg. You turn a little early, then push him back half a metre, feel him in your left rein. He will definitely be right at the leg there.
So we are rather rusty in the canter. I will happily admit we have not done much canter work at all recently. Not since his stifles, because I've slowly brought him back into full work, and a lot of that has been trot work. So my to-do list this week is to up our canter time each time I ride him and to get him cantering a lot more, because we really, really need to improve on that canter work. So, of course, we did do a lot of walking in between this, but I have cut that out because I know that's kind of boring, but obviously we took it quite steady with Percy today. So we swapped back to the left rein just to finish him with a little bit of canter on this rein because we haven't done that yet. But as you can see, he is a lot more relaxed and accepting of the contact and actually bringing his head down and a lot less alarmery than we were when we first started.
Well done. So you turn that right hip. Now think about the curve. Curve, push back, feel your right rein. Make the left corner of the bit quick. So you move, that's it. So you can't just sit into it. Corner of the bit on the left, so full left leg moves over. Watch the left rein coming tight on the neck. If your left hand comes up and over, it usually just means you're starting to get a bit tired through the left leg. Yeah. Or you're not using the left leg effectively. And then if you push it back and then you're going to trot, open it. Get your left leg quick. So you think open left, get left leg underneath you.
Right.
And it's not huge, it's just like going from there, where you want to cross it, which brings you off your left seat.
Yeah.
So slightly open it, get one left leg on. Right into the gap you create.
So that is Mr. Percy done, and on to the Ginger Ninja. Now, I don't think you guys have actually seen Snip being worked for quite a while. She had a holiday, a little bit of a winter break, and she's been hacking, and we've only really just started schooling her again. Even so, she did come out today, and it was giving off the track thoroughbred. It was giving I've never been schooled in my life. But, I mean, no offence to any off-track thoroughbreds, but, she can work in an outline. She clearly chose violence today instead. I just warmed up and sort of, the way I warm up with Snip is I leave her head alone. She is so sensitive in the mouth and in the neck, and the minute you start grabbing with Snip or trying to sort of force her into a contact before she's ready, there's just no point because you will lose that battle. So, and also because Tori hasn't actually seen Snip under saddle before. This is Snippy's first lesson with Tori, whereas Percy has been taught by Tori previously. So this is a little bit of an assessment of A, how she's moving, because I explained about her suspensory issues and everything that she's had previously, and I also explained that she might be looking at getting a hox injected soon, and I wanted Tori's opinion on whether we need to work more before we do that or whether she's ready for that. So that's how the warm-up started anyway, and then we will crack on with a little bit of teaching. So by this point, the wind has got that high that there is no point me even trying to put the mics on. So what Tori had me doing for my first exercise is actually just using my leg to try and control Snip's speed. So what we want is to think walk and get her almost to the point of walk and then double kick with my inside leg to say no, trot on. And this was all about having gears within the trot. Now Snip looks like she's going horrendously here. You kind of just have to get through this stage with Snippy, as you'll see when we do the trot after the canter. So once we've got the control in the trot here, that is then when we actually did this in canter as well. So this is in the canter and it's very subtle, but I'm kind of asking her to come back to almost trot and then kicking her on and be like, oh no, go forward. And it's so that we can adjust the speed, because one thing that Snip likes to do is to bugger off in canter. So normally when we go down the long side, she'd be like, right, I'm off. So this exercise got us doing is doing a circle of canter in each corner to allow me to sort of rebalance and ask her to come back to me before pushing on to the next corner. So I did the circle as many times as I needed to until I felt she was listening before I could then take her off the circle and go straight. And this is actually a brilliant exercise for Snip. She went from a very, very unbalanced canter to one where I literally felt like I was being chucked around everywhere and was like propping her up myself, to actually feeling quite sort of self-balancing almost, which is something Snippy hasn't been for a very long time. So of course she does look very, very green, and she is riding very, very green at this point, but this is actually some of the best canter work she's done in months. So that was very nice to feel again today, and we did the exact same on the other rein. One thing that I have avoided with Snip is her canter work, because in my head she's like, I said to Tori, I don't feel like she's strong enough to canter yet. And she was like, your strength will come from your canter work. And she basically explained it that trot is like yoga and your canter work is what will actually build that muscle. So from now on, the majority of the work Snippy is going to be doing in the arena is her canter work. And also, can we just take a minute to appreciate how better her trot is after she's cantered? Honestly, next time I ride, I am like strapping my wrists or something, so I can't do this stupid pointing my hand to the floor and locking my wrist in a weird angle thing that I currently appear to have started doing. Honestly, it's really annoying me now. I just notice it in everything. This is what happens when you film all your riding, guys. You scrutinise the hell out of it, so there's no need for anyone else to do that in comments, because I do it myself. But yeah, so that was basically Snippy's session. Her first ever session with Tori. It might seem crazy having lessons with a Grand Prix Dressage Rider when your horse is this green and at this stage, but honestly, if anyone can get Snippy back to full work and looking pretty decent, it will be Tori. So yeah, really enjoyed both my sessions with Tori today, and hopefully have some more with her before she has her baby. And yeah, so that was my week of two very different halves, of lame Percy to training Percy, and Snippy coming back into work. I hope you guys have enjoyed this vlog, and a little bit different for you as well, and I will hopefully see you next week for another training video, when Percy does his first jump. So fingers crossed that my horses stay sound, and if you would like to, don't forget to subscribe and turn on that bell icon so you get a notification every single time I post, which is every week, or it's meant to be, and I'll see you very soon. Bye guys.